So what is womb healing? Womb healing is a journey to release trauma, restore vibrance and balance to the womb, menstrual cycle, and creative center. So womb healing is for anyone with a womb space, and the womb space can incorporate the menstrual cycle, the reproductive organs, and also it's the sacral energy center, the seat of your creativity. So the womb space is both physical and non-physical. It's the energetic aspect of that sacral energy center, and then it's also the physical organs that are in that area. So uterus, ovaries, and all of those sexual and reproductive organs are connected to the womb. So when we're talking about womb healing, we're talking about addressing both physical and non-physical imbalances. So womb healing is for anyone who is experiencing any kind of those imbalances. So difficulty with the menstrual cycle, difficulty with connecting with your creative center, difficulty with releasing any kind of trauma that you could have experienced in regard to your sexuality and your physical body. And all of those things are going to be incorporated into the womb healing practices that I'm going to share with you. I want to dive a little bit more deeply into womb trauma and what that actually looks like so you can have an idea of why these practices are going to be put in place. So womb trauma can be ancestral. It can be something that was passed down through many generations. So there's a few different ways that this can show up. One is in patterns and behaviors. So for example, if somebody has this traumatic experience, then they could put patterns and habits into place and behaviors into place to help protect themselves from having to experience something like that again, or protective mechanisms for having to be in that situation again if they don't have any control over their environment. So those kinds of habits and patterns and behaviors can be passed down through generations. And then there's the epigenetic aspect of ancestral healing or ancestral trauma that could show up in the womb space. And the epigenetic aspect has to do with when someone experiences trauma, it can have an impact on their DNA, and that can play a role in genetic expression for many, many generations. So this can be seen in how certain people will have like a really extreme reaction to something, and then another person may have like a really mild or no reaction at all. And of course there are other things that are playing into that, but when something is triggering an ancestral trauma or something that is connected to an ancestral trauma, that can have a huge impact on the person who is experiencing that thing. So that can show up in the womb space as well. So that ancestral trauma is going to be connected to the next type of trauma that could be held in the womb, which has to do with the womb experience. So what you experienced when you were in the womb of your mother, but not only that, what your mother experienced while you were in the womb. So if your mother experienced anything traumatic or just really difficult or was having really persistent thoughts about something, then that can be imprinted into you and can show up in how you think about yourself and also how you think about the world. So going back to that womb experience can be a really powerful practice, and it's something that I've done, it's something that I've done with my clients, and something that I've done in my group coaching circles where we go back into that womb experience, kind of like learn about what we learned about ourselves and then move forward from that and kind of bring those awarenesses into our daily life and see how the womb experience could be played out in habits and patterns and thought processes and beliefs about ourselves and the world. And then there is just modern society that can have an impact on our womb space and can contribute to womb trauma. So modern society has this way of like diminishing the power of women and feminine energy, and this has been going on for many, many generations. So this is both like modern day and generational trauma, but basically we live in this world that is very much male dominated and structured in order for men to thrive, not men and women and everyone in between. So when we live in that kind of world that's very linear and very much based on your productivity, very much based on capitalism, that is not healthy for anyone. Not only is it not healthy for cyclical people, but it's not healthy for any person really when we really break that down. So that plays a role. And then there's things like misogyny, which is something that is systemic. It's something that has an impact on how we are able to create the lives that we want and live the lives that we want to live, because with misogyny and violence against women, that plays a huge role in womb trauma, and that's something to consider as well. And then there's sexual trauma, and of course sexual trauma is going to have an impact on the womb space and how we experience our womb, how we feel connected to it, how we experience sex in the future, how we experience our menstrual cycles. All of that can be connected to sexual trauma, ancestral trauma, and the trauma of just living in a modern linear society. So what do we do about these things? Because we have so much power, and that's where these practices and tips that I have for you come in. So number one of the first things that you can do is to incorporate ritual and ceremony. This is so important and so crucial because ritual and ceremony gives us a container, a space within which we can heal, grow, evolve, and it's a place where we are also connected to ancestral practices and traditions that aren't really represented in the modern world. And it's a place where we can start to tap into those things and tap into the tools and resources that our ancestors had for healing. And that comes through ritual and ceremony. Community is going to be number two. Look for circles. I have joined several women's circles over the years. I've been in circles of herbalists, I've been in circles of dreamers, I've been in circles of medicine people, and all of those circles have offered me opportunities to heal because we get to see ourselves in other people, we get to see other people for who they are and the experiences that they're going through. And that can be a really powerful catalyst for healing and change in our own journey. Okay, so number three is going to be incorporating a specific womb healing practice. So something like womb massage. And if you watch one of my other videos, you will see I give you all the instructions on how to do womb massage. But womb massage is amazing because you are connecting with the physical body. And I would say like 90% of the people that I have done womb massage on tell me that they haven't really even touched that part of their body. And it's important to incorporate things like actual physical touch with your womb healing because you want to connect with that part of your body. You want to start to create a relationship and deeper connection to this part of the body that is often just disregarded. So womb massage can help you to do that. I love womb massage because it's so powerful for the physical body. It helps with fertility. It's amazing for fertility. It also helps to release the stagnation that can build up in the womb space. So this can be physical stagnation with cysts and fibroids and endometriosis, things like that. But then there's also the energetic and emotional stagnation that can happen. And this could be connected to past traumas, ancestral trauma, and things like that. So womb massage is amazing for diving into your womb healing practice. So those are the three things that I have for you, and I want to close by giving you some journal prompts as well, because these journal prompts can help to open you up to new ways of thinking about your womb healing journey and just give you some tools to start with so you can answer these now, or you can answer them before you do a ritual. You can kind of make these an intention for a ritual or a ceremony. You can incorporate this into a womb massage. Maybe you can ask this question before you do the womb massage, or ask these questions before you do the womb massage, and just see what comes up. You can also introduce this as a talking point in one of your circles or community circles. And that can be a really great way to get other people thinking about how to connect with this really powerful and sacred space within you. The first question is, where am I feeling blocked in my creativity, sexuality, or self-expression? Number 2, what steps can I take to move past this block? So an example of how to work with these prompts, from my own experience, I know that I have been blocked in my self-expression many times, and I have done a 6-night dream work ritual in order to learn about where that blocked self-expression comes from. And for me, that 6-night dream work ritual brought up a lot of ancestral trauma and helped me to see specifically what happened to one of my ancestors. So womb healing, again, is so connected to our self-expression and very much connected to our voice. So for me, that practice of doing the dream work ritual and starting to implement what I learned from that through just being aware of when I was in situations where I did need to speak up for myself and being able to do that. And that's something where those lessons keep coming up over and over and over again. It gets easier with each time it happens. It does get easier, but again, like, this is a healing journey, not like a healing destination. So womb healing journeys mean that you have these tools and practices that you can always turn to. That way you don't come into stagnation. And stagnation is where we start to see physical manifestations of these emotional and energetic imbalances and spiritual imbalances as well. So hopefully you start to incorporate some of these practices and you will start to see a difference in your own womb healing journey. Of course, use all the resources that I have. I have so many resources available for you. If you want to learn more about your menstrual cycle and really diving into womb healing and healing your menstrual cycle, then you definitely want to check out some of the online course offerings that I have, which you can see in the description. If you want to learn about how to create your own womb healing ritual, check out my YouTube videos and also check out my blog. There I have a lot of information about how you can do your own womb healing rituals, and all the information is free. So there are lots of great options and paths that you can take if you want to learn more with me. If you enjoyed this, definitely subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you again in another video.